Hello people of the internet, this is a Geek Gaming Culture channel. So before I go into the issue I have now with TwitchCon's reversal of decision to scale back health mandates at its upcoming 2022 event, let me tell you about what we have learned about the now relaxed measures that the CDC themselves put out over the weekend. They have now updated their recommendations of who should wear masks based upon risk levels in a particular area. Those in high risk areas should continue to wear them. Those that live in medium level areas should only wear them if they are at a greater risk of getting the coof, and if you are in a low level area, then you don't really have to wear one at all. Nothing has changed as you're keeping up with the pokes, isolating, testing if exposed, and the one thing that usually doesn't get said, keeping your body and vitamin regimen in check and kept up, vitamin D, E, C, zinc, iron, things like that, and maintaining a healthy diet and exercise, though good luck getting some people to commit to the latter. They have also axed the need to social distance, which has become nothing more than meme-worthy anymore. This is good news for people that were actually following the science and were not just waiting for the CDC to agree with their need to virtue signal themselves onto others. Essentially, this is all but stating that the major threat in the pandemic is indeed over in all but what the World Health Organization says. And we're still waiting on them to finally wake up and just say that it's officially over, because it is in all but officially naming it as one, at least in the US. Of course, people who were just wanting the CDC to succumb to their need to weaponize the pandemic for political gain on both sides of the aisle, yes, both the right and left wings did this, are not happy about this move. Most right now is coming from the left because they feel as though the pandemic is still going on, as though we're still in 2020 and we have not found out what we have learned now about the coof than we knew back then. The science has progressed past the time they are living in, and we know now that the new strains have become more contagious but less deadly. No, the thing might never go away, but it has weakened to the point that we can now deal with it without going into freakouts. Also, as being a guest, election year. They need to pretend that they were actually fixing this issue when they have really not at all. But before I go any further, those who think me saying this means I somehow went right-wing or I am some Magna Trumper, then you are mistaken. Politics, even though politics shouldn't have anything to do with health advice or suggestions or should fuel what health mandates are put in place, has changed. I had voted for Biden. Yes, I know I should have voted for third party and might in the next presidential election, and I have spoken out against some decisions our Supreme Court has made recently. I have also advocated for equal rights for everyone under the law. That has never changed. I do believe that we should be safe from harm, either from other people or from health scares. Nothing about who I am politically from 2000, 2010 has changed in my values, even when I've seen myself have some strange bedfellows share some of my values in recent years. I'm glad those people have finally come around and that we can further penetrate through that divide. I have also found that it's actually okay to criticize these people on my own party and to also correct those I feel that I would agree with and just about everything else when there is something I might have a slight disagreement on details of schematics while thinking they have the same fundamental values I have. However, also keep in mind that me even saying this much about coof is risky. When I began speaking out against the ongoing trend to scream at one another about the mandates and restrictions, people suddenly went after me. I know me speaking out was the main reason I was removed from one gaming Discord server, lost some friends based on this alone, and others unfollowed or blocked me on Twitter, and I was banned from a few subreddits, including the official subreddit for this. And would you believe the Jeopardy subreddit? Because I dared to defend Maya Bialik on some of her viewpoints about this subject, and I documented my battles with the mods over there on this channel. At least they gave me a reason, unlike r/game show, which perma banned me and won't even respond to my request for an explanation as to why. I'm pretty sure YouTube and some other people in some other places didn't like me be one of the few people to call out the situation either. We all know how YouTube operates by now. But now we're in a different stage. No longer can anyone just go and state that anyone that is calling out why we still need the restrictions is a denier, or that it's not okay to criticize your own party for how they handled all of this, or that they are trying to kill grandma. Grandma is now the one telling us that she doesn't need protecting, and she probably got it anyway and recovered from it with flying colors. In fact, grandma was probably the one who then took her purse and smacked us over the heads, yelling at us why we were listening to either right or left wing about any of this, or why we even thought they had our best interests at heart. We we have now seen several different strains with varying levels of strength. But the latest one has shown us that perhaps the worst of it is over, probably because our bodies are now more used to the coof being out there. And we now have a level of natural immunity that we didn't have when this first started. And some might say natural immunity is even better than taking the vaccines. One thing we have to know about following the science is that we should always be allowed to further question the science, because we can always improve it, and that science always finds a way to progress. We've found ways to advance medicine to where even those that have HIV can now live fully productive lives and manage it to the point that they are not scared of it, or it doesn't control them anymore. In short, it doesn't control their lives anymore. One thing about experts is that they always found a way to continue to work to make sure that we didn't have to mask up anymore, that it would be truly temporary. So what level is the area that TwitchCon 2022 is going to be held in is at right now? San Diego County is right now in the medium risk level, meaning that those individuals, not everyone there, but those that could be immunocompromised, are recommended, not required, but recommended to wear a mask. Keep in mind that nothing the CDC said ever restricted you from wearing one, but that it shouldn't need to be mandated. What's more, according to the CDC data, the rate of death in that county has gone down significantly over the past 7 days, and the number is extremely low there. So in a sense, TwitchCon at first followed these guidelines and could have told those that were worried about individual decisions to take it up with the CDC and show them this data. But of course, if they did that, it could have pressured the CDC to change course, because that's what they usually do. Or pressure TwitchCon to go against this science and continue to push forth with what few loud people on Twitter, and I have to admit, some Twitch streamers I have seen really push for them to change course, because that's what Twitch is doing, coming to pressure from a few people on the fringe, when the majority of progressive-minded people who use Twitch are not on board with what the fringe wants. Now, before you think I'm just being pretentious here, keep in mind this is the same Twitch that's owned by Amazon, who is owned by Jeff Bezos, the same person that owns the Washington Post, and we all know how progressives should feel about that. This is the same Twitch that decided that it was more important to stamp out the cam girl community and bow down to RIAA demands than to tackle the hate raids done by bots that went around and harassed minorities that were using the platform or couldn't get Twitch to lift a damn finger. This is the same Twitch that decided to hire a toxic fringe person that actually thought she was a deer, someone clearly mentally troubled, and I don't mean that to insult, to join their safety council and make important decisions that no one that has a mind such as hers should have power to make. This is the same Twitch platform that just decided that one day was a great day to ban Dr. Disrespect without any reason given, and they dug their heels in about never giving him any reason as to why he was banned or why he's somehow problematic. No joke, I've seen people call him problematic but never go into detail about what he actually does that would make someone think that. To this day, no one knows why he was banned, nor does anyone know what he even does to make people think he's bad news. No one can answer that question, but will still think he is because a few people on their side of the fringe said he was. When you are on the fringe, that's all you need to have someone be believable. So why do we expect anything more from Twitch that would say that they were listening to actual people that were actually telling them the truth and not the same fringe mob that continues to be in their ear? Something must be going on Twitch for them to continue to make decisions that benefit no one those that Reset Era would be jealous of. Instead of following the CDC guidelines and allowing those that are not still stuck in 2020 to be able to make their own decisions, they decided to bow down again to those that have seemingly also cheered for things like the Dr. Disrespect ban. They then told those that didn't agree with their decision to ask for a refund for those tickets. Really? Is that all you can do? How about for their hotels and flights that are already booked, they may not be able to get their money back for? Or those that have to maybe miss work from their day jobs if they have one on the side? Or them losing possible growth because Twitch decided to succumb to select few they feel they couldn't lose? How will Twitch compensate for those people who were hoping to advertise their channel at the event, get more eyeballs to their stream, and become the next Disrespect, or Markiplier, or Pewds, or even the next Total Biscuit? And wow, we could ever use the wisdom TV would have given us now. Or better yet, maybe Twitch can actually say to those that had an issue with your last guidelines that they were following what the CDC said, and maybe they should follow that too. That could have been enough. Hey, everyone seems to have a problem when the CDC regulates their guidelines, as if after they discovered this thing in 2020, they closed up shop and didn't try to progress their knowledge of the situation any further, or that people would actually go to other sources not named MSNBC, CNN, or Washington Post and actually see that there were things that weren't being told or weren't allowed to be even said. To this day, we still see certain people getting censored just for not going with Fauci, a man that has flip-flopped on the mask issue so many times and has said that any criticism against him is one against science itself.
It's very dangerous, Chuck, because a lot of what you're seeing as attacks on me, quite frankly, are attacks on science. Because all of the things that I have spoken about consistently from the very beginning have been fundamentally based on science. Sometimes those things were inconvenient truths for people, and there was pushback against me. So if you are trying to, get at me as a public health official and a scientist, you're really attacking not only Dr. Anthony Fauci, you're attacking science. And anybody that looks at what's going on clearly sees that. You have to be asleep not to see that. That is what's going on. Science and the truth are being attacked.
And can't keep his words straight about if his department-funded gain-of-function research that might have been what caused this whole thing to start to begin with. People running TwitchCon could have done that and not only be within bounds, tell those that were complaining that they should talk to the CDC about all of this. Instead, they decided to go this route. And as soon as Twitch went back to both mask mandates and vaccine mandates, yeah, they want both, and ask yourself how those two don't contradict each other, here came the Twitter bots ready to shout down any argument who dared call out how Twitch handled this. Yeah, that started back up. And now they are the ones saying, you don't have to go. Neither did they when the con didn't require something the CDC isn't even requiring anymore, or even recommending. They're even bringing back up the whole argument about a private company doing the no shirt, no shoes, no service mantra to defend this decision. Really? That tire trope that isn't comparable, since more and more evidence piles up that masks didn't do much to stop this to begin with, and that you might be better off without one? That's their entire defense? How do you respond to something like that? But it isn't just the random Twitter bots that continue to try to pay lip service to this idea to the point that you would think you were shopping at a Menards in 2020. Remember how draconian they were about you wearing them in their stores for a while? That was ridiculous. No, it's not just them. It's certain streamers that still believe the science is on their side. I can say that there are streamers that stream a certain game. You might have seen them praise his decision on Twitter. It even went to attack those who call Twitch out on this, that have told the opposition to take a walk. I'm assuming some of their streamers, those from a few games, and those EMV streamers you might have seen from time to time, were instrumental in actually contacting Twitch about this. And you know who they are. The same people who never think you can be for a certain thing while still thinking that a certain thing should have some limits at least. Those people that say, if you agree with X, unfriend or unfollow me, when that thing they are wanting you to agree with about is something you could agree fundamentally with them on, but some parts of their take is something you would like to push back on at the same time. The type of people that you would feel uncomfortable approaching and saying that while you agree with a left-wing idea on one issue, one little side note of that same issue is something you can't get behind and you think there could be a better way to achieve the same goal. Those people that think that any sort of pushback, no matter how tame or even if it's about the wording of something, means that you are right-wing and should be grouped in with hate groups. We shouldn't be feeling uncomfortable in saying that we disagree on someone who we be on the same fundamental side as us, or that we share the same goal but we think the manner in which we are doing it is suspect and needs some course correction. That's what I am saying here. I believe the sickness is real. Two of my friends got the coup. One twice over. First time she got it, she felt like a failure because she did everything she was told to do. Masking up, getting vaxxed, social distancing, she did it all. Yet she got it anyway. Why did she feel like she was a failure? Because of how we have been for 2 years now when someone got it. You must have done something wrong. As in they thought only those that did everything just right never got it and became completely immune. And it's the person's fault for getting it. However, those people did recover. There were others that I watched and followed that got it and they recovered without much issue. I can't speak for everyone and I'm far from an expert or perfect. I never said I was. But I have done research and I know what I am reading. The idea that these Twitter bots and streamers know more than what the CDC and the experts is saying is ludicrous and really exposes what is going on. That is that they are afraid of being told they are wrong, or doing this in bad faith to make sure that those are deemed undesirable for some other reason not in any way related to the coup, because they think only right-wing nutjobs will ever oppose mandates or restrictions or question the approach our government had with the coup would not attend the con. I sympathize with the immunocompromised, sure, but I can also say you can wear the mask if you are. Protect yourself if you feel as though you had to. That's not me trying to be insensitive, but me saying that the science and the CDC is saying that you will be okay if you take care of yourself, and I personally hope you do. But if you, meaning those that decided to scream down people on Twitter as a bot or one of the aforementioned streamers, have evidence that contradicts what the CDC is now saying, then present it. Don't gaslight those, then tell them to take a hike. It does nothing to show that you mean well in your endeavors, because that person you just told to do that was seeing the same thing I'm showing you now. No one is denying the COOF's existence here, and no one is trying to cheer on people getting sick. There's no conspiracy here. What they do want is for Twitch to stop bowing to those that are on the fringe side and actually follow the science, and not just the science of those Twitter and some of these other streamers think they have. Again, if they have counter science that shows they aren't stuck in 2020, then show it and let's peer review and debate it. But let's do it in a way where others feel comfortable with explaining their nuanced viewpoints or nuanced opposition to those viewpoints, and they don't feel like they will be ostracized for having even one slightly different nuance than someone else has. TwitchCon should indeed follow the science that the CDC just told us about, that is the science, because we now know they were never following that. They instead followed a select few that wanted to virtue signal in our faces and make believe that the science on COOF and about where we are now and knowledge of it compared to where it was 2 years prior never took place. To them, it's still not okay to say this or even bring it up. But more and more are starting to see that this can't be ignored anymore, and those people can't be smeared as easily anymore. Perhaps if the TwitchCon runners told them that the CDC said they could roll back those restrictions, then we could have had a more civilized discussion of if this is really over. Or maybe ask why we are still at each other's throats about this and we're still refusing to let this go. Instead, this is another example of Twitch ignoring the majority of their user base and instead choosing to listen to a small group of ideologues. Only this time, ideologues did a time warp to justify their decisions. And the thing about this is, Twitch can still correct this and show that they are following the actual science by just saying they will go with what the CDC says is best. If they are saying that this could indeed be over, maybe we all should. Take care of yourselves. I think the people you think you're protecting can make their own decisions too, and I think they'll be fine. Just pretend this is Grandma who is showing you this data, and Twitch can fix this by following the science and the majority. This is a Geek Gaming Culture channel saying that just happened.